Something I discovered about the cutscene where he's being catapulted out of the barrel is that if you don't have your sword at that point, then the game freezes, because I guess it checks to see if you have the sword, because it removes the sword from your inventory before I was about to call him Sonic. I knew that would happen. Anyways, it probably checks to see if you have your sword before catapulting you, because it needs to remove your sword needs to be in your inventory for it to remove it in the first place. So if you manage to use the Mega Jump code to get onto the pirate ship without getting the sword, and then you go all the way to the Forsaken Fortress without it, then the game will crash with a buzzing sound and everything. I didn't feel like showing that off in the extra part, because that would mean sitting through the intro cutscene of the game again. And I did that so many times when recording one of the extra parts that showed off the results of hacking that I can do. Well, hacking is a bit of an overstatement. Secrets breaking, I guess, would be more like it. But yeah, using the enemy's weapons against him is a cool concept, but you swing so slowly, and even your spin attack is so slow. So ultimately, I don't know, like, you can block its attacks with the shield. I feel it's a lot more satisfying to just throw a jar at them, but of course, because the enemies all have gigantic health bars compared to what they should have, I hate how many times you see the cameras just pan around to show you different parts of the area. Whenever you go to a certain area, whenever you go to certain areas in the Forsaken Fortress, like, again, what is the point of this? I just feel like it always wastes my time. Especially when you get to a dead end. And your time is wasted by seeing the camera swivel around. Like, if I wanted to see what it was showing me, then I would just use my telescope. And even then, you don't even need the telescope, you can just look around with your first-person view. But anyways, this is why I hate the Forsaken Fortress. It is so dull, waiting for these really slow-moving enemies to walk all the way back so that you can pass them. Like, they couldn't have made them just a little bit faster? And if that rat attacks you while you're in a barrel, it'll knock you out of the barrel, because a rat can attack you through the barrel for some reason. Even though it's so tall, even when it's like lying down and crawling along the ground, you'd think that it wouldn't be able to go under the barrel. It just feels so arbitrary. Like, not only does it steal your rupees, but it forces you to get caught. And, spoiler alert, I get caught. After spending such a long time waiting for this guy to slowly move towards me so that I can get past him. All of this ends up being for nothing, because the damn spotlights are on the walls that I have to sidle over to. And I'm just moving the camera around in rage frustration. I guess I should have hinted to the fact that I'm wasting my time with this, because you can clearly see a spotlight still moving. And when there's still spotlights moving, then that means that there's going to be spotlights that are on the wall. And that means that there's no way that you can get to the end of this stealth section. But yeah, I just hate the Forsaken Fortress stealth section so much, because it's so dull. You're just waiting around for several seconds, minutes on end. How is that fun? You're not doing anything, you're just waiting. I just wish that the Moblins moved faster and stuff. And like, there's so much tension when there's rats going around that can knock you out of the barrel. This is the worst part of the game to me. Or at least, it would be, but again, whenever I replay this game, I use the Mega Jump code. It just makes it more fun. So I use Mega Jump code, and because of that, I'm able to skip this stupid section every time I play the game. But unfortunately, the Earth Temple, which is what I consider to be the real worst part of the game, because there's nothing you could do to skip it at all. And you can seeing how I dealt with that, like the way sometimes the spotlight isn't covering the wall at all. You can't blame me for thinking that maybe I could make it. And if I could have just hung on that ledge and then climbed it up and immediately started sidling against the wall, then it would have been just fine. I would have been able to get off the ledge and then start sidling again when the spotlight wasn't there again. But instead, it just arbitrarily forced me to go through the entire stealth section. By the way, I'm going to be cutting past all the repetition of the chest animation. Because, like, really, you don't need to see it again. Like, I guess it's good enough when you see it for the first time. But you're going to be opening a lot of treasure chests in this game, and it gets really repetitive, seeing that overly drawn out cutscene that you can't skip over and over again. Like, it's got the right music to establish the atmosphere, the wonder of opening a chest so you don't know what's in it. But still, I like how that piece of heart chest looked like a chest that would give you a piece of heart because it looked different from all the other ones. Like, it didn't look black like the chest that gives you the map and compass. So that's good. The compass is pretty pointless in this dungeon though, because like, you know where you're supposed to go. I think. I don't know, I just don't remember ever benefiting from a compass because I mostly just play the Zelda games that I'm familiar with, and so I already know where the boss is. I don't need the map. I don't need the compass. They're just stuff that I get for sake of completion. And in Wind Waker, because I haven't memorized what all the chests have and where all of the rooms are and what rooms I should go to beat the dungeon as quick as possible. So like, I went into this game with the intention of beating it fast as possible, but I ended up just going to practically every room anyways, because I don't have it memorized. And that means that that's probably part of what contributes to this being like 30 parts for the main playthrough. These guys are, I think they're called mini blends, and they're really weird because they usually tend to infinitely respawn. Like, you can keep on attacking them, and you'll just waste your time, because they won't ever leave you alone. They also make really annoying sounds, and they laugh when they attack you. So they're pretty annoying. So yeah, I just went through a room that I was already in, just to get back here. See how fun this place is? And look, I do not need this camera angle. I know that the searchlight is already on the wall. You don't need to tell me again, game. I wish I could just skip that. Twilight Princess is so much better with letting you skip certain cutscenes. I'm also going to be skipping most of the door animation cutscenes when you've already seen them. I'm not going to be skipping past climbing up the ladders though, because it's a mandatory part of the game, and you really do need to see it to believe it. I just wish you climbed up ladders faster. Like, it's not as painful as how slowly Sonic climbs up ladders in Sonic Adventure, but I just wish, I mean, I know it'd be stupid to have him climb up ladders as fast as Big the Cat, especially considering how small in stature he is, but still, like, it would have been more fun, wouldn't it? It seems pretty random whether you manage to knock it out of his hand or not. Like, he hit my shield there, but it didn't. And it didn't get knocked out of him again. And again. And again. He can use the jump attack just like you can. The jump attack, it's pointless. I don't really see the point of it even being there, to be honest. Like, you never need to use it, and the spin attack is so much better, so I don't think I ever really use it. Except maybe for novelty's sake at one point. It's really only an attack that you do by accident when you miss time a parry, but do you ever miss time a parry though? It's pretty easy to time. Thank you for telling me something that I already know. I just did this. At least she has charm, but sadly, she doesn't keep being your exposition fairy for the whole game. Even though that would have been a lot better than having the King of Red Lions as the exposition fairy. Because, you know, I would have loved to have her as a sassy exposition fairy for the whole game. Like, especially since she has a gossip stone, so she can keep in contact with you using hers. So why does she suddenly stop talking to you? Like, why doesn't Link call her up when he meets the boat and like tell her about his quest? It's not like she wouldn't believe him. I mean, I guess maybe she wouldn't, except she knows he's going on a quest anyways, and she meets Ganon anyways. I don't know, I think it would have been a lot better, like, it would have been a lot of sorts of sassy, amusing dialogue if Tetra was the one who called you through the Gossip Stone, and Tetra accompanied you in your adventures. I would have vastly preferred the pirate ship to the boat that we normally sail around with. Although I guess the pirate ship is a lot larger, so it wouldn't be able to, like, fit inside of the reefs, where you have to squeeze between tight spaces, and I don't think the pirate ship, as large as it is, would have been able to do that. But I don't know. I hate how underutilized the pirates were. Like, they're such a cool and charming concept. They're pretty unique, but they barely ever show up. And they're also too heroic. And I know they're on Tetra's side, so they have to be, but still. I love how the targeting arrow shows something that's underneath the floor, by the way. And you can target it for no reason. And look at how dull this is! I mean, you're just waiting around. The first trailer for this game showed that Link originally had a sneaking ability. It got replaced with these. And why they decided to show off this stealth section in the first trailer in the game, I will never know. Like, at least, like, Sonic Unleashed had better marketing than that. Because at least they had the good sense to not show off the werehog until later. Like, the first trailer only showed off the you know, good part of the game, the day stages. God, this is so boring. Why did they think this was a good idea? Especially since, you know, with the art style, this game would logically be more marketed towards kids. Kids wouldn't get bored at this? Really? Kids wouldn't put this down? I mean, I didn't, but like, I never really fully played and beat this game until I was a teenager. Because for most of my life, it was just my dad who played through most of the game and I watched, and then I would just play the Triforce quest. And that's what got me into the game. That's the main, like, that's part of the reason why I love the Triforce quest so much, is because the Triforce quest was the main thing that I played the game for when I was a kid. I didn't really play the dungeons. I just, like, that was my first experience with 3D Zelda. So I guess it's nostalgia, really. Plus, there's also the fact that most of the dungeons in this game are actually pretty weak. I mean, the first two are okay, but after that, they just kind of get tedious. And I'll talk more about that when we get to them. So this is the Joy Pendant, and these are actually mandatory for beating the game. And since there are spoils, and they go in your spoils bag, the spoils bag is mandatory as well. By the way, you're gonna get really sick of constantly seeing the Joy Pendant message over and over again. Or at least I did. I cut it all out, so you don't have to see that repetition. At least it's not as bad as in Skyward Sword, where every time that you get something new for your spoils, they tell you what it is. Like, I think it's only when you first load up your file, and then when you load up your file again, it reminds you what something is. Really, Link? What do you think would happen? Although I'm not sure why it decides to do that here, but the next time we see it, it doesn't do that. Like, it's so genre savvy here, but the next time we face it, it doesn't grab Link in its beak, and instead decides to fight Link with the rising water and everything. I mean, really? I don't know, that just seems kinda stupid to me. Like, the only reason we were able to win against this guy later in the game is because it decided to be randomly stupid. I like how Ganon is portrayed here. Like, he looks all mysterious and intimidating because we don't get to see his entire face. A lot of people have made fun of the way his face looks in this game. I like the way he looks in general though. Like, I don't mind the fact that he's gained a lot of weight since Ocarina of Time. Like, I really like the way he looks in this game. It's the look that I associate with Ganondorf. Also, that cutscene with Link in the water, that was actually added for the American version of the game. That wasn't in the Japanese version. Because I guess they want to make it more obvious to the American audience how the boat got to him, rather than you just believing that he just showed up here. Like, did they really think we were that stupid? And we just would believe that he was thrown all the way over here? Never mind the fact that there's a ceiling above him, so there's no way that he could have been thrown directly here. Like, he would have fallen onto the part of the land above this area. But yeah, that's part of the reason why the fastest speedruns to this game are the Japanese version, because they added a whole new cutscene in the American version, even if it doesn't have any dialogue and it's short. Anyways, this is the King of Red Lions, and as an exposition fairy, he's okay. He's not annoying at all, which is much better than I could say for like other exposition fairies like Navi, or like some people find Midna annoying. Like, I like her, like, and Tattle. Like, he's not like Tattle where sometimes people can find her annoying. And of course, Ganon is evil, and we know this because he's surrounded by fire, and he inexplicably isn't hurt by it for some reason. Foreshadowing. Human hands? Weren't all of the other previous Links human? And they defeated Ganon. Well, technically they sealed him away most of the time, but like, Ganon was defeated for good in this game, in this timeline anyways. So yeah, Ganon can be defeated by human hands. And I think he was defeated forever at the end of Zelda 1 in that timeline. I don't remember about... I think he was defeated for good in Twilight Princess. But I don't know what timeline Breath of the Wild came on. Maybe it was at the end of the Twilight Princess one. But anyways, this is Windmill Island, or Windfall Island. Ever since I played Sonic Unleashed, where the first level was called Windmill Isle, I've gotten the two names confused. Cause like the first thing I thought when I played Windmill Isle of Apatos was, what? Did they rip off the name of this island? So, yeah. I liked the name of the island. This actually isn't pretty dickish because this guy is a complete asshole. So, he kinda deserves that response. He becomes really irritating later in the game. Attacking the pigs to get them to run after you and attack you is a lot more difficult than it is attacking the cuckoos in A Link to the Past or Minish Cap. It's almost like they don't want you to do it. And you know, if they don't want you to do it, then why did they program that into the game? That seems like a massive waste of programming then, if they make it so needlessly difficult to make them run after you annoyed. And plus, if you go too far away from the pigs when they're angry with you, they'll return to normal. It's not like they're like the cuckoos where they create a huge swarm of them attacking you all at once. Kolu-limpa is actually a Japanese word that's used while making a circular motion with your index finger around your ear to mean that someone's crazy. So Tingle's unknowingly calling himself crazy. That's a joke that's easy to miss out on if you don't know Japanese. And I don't. I just read off a trivia page, really. This guy is pretty irritating and creepy. I hate the way he looks. Like, I really do. He was first introduced in Majora's Mask. And he made a reappearance in this game and in Minish Cap. And a lot of people hate him for good reason because he enslaves his twin brothers, forcing them to perpetually push around a statue with his head on it, on a tower. And this is dark foreshadowing to the fact that he completely forces you to spend a huge amount of money on him just to beat the game. Because, you know, of course you have to translate a map. You know, like, it's not like it's a picture that you can just look at. Anyways, the only reason that I know how to navigate this tunnel is because I played the game a whole bunch. I can imagine this would be pretty annoying and you'd need a guide to beat it if you're just going into it fresh or haven't played the game as much as I have. Cause like, you really, like, you turn, like when you press the direction that one of those arrows is showing you, you immediately start turning and moving in that direction. So it's not like you can look over a corner before to determine if that's the right place to go before you go there. Like if you make a wrong turn and you want to go back, then you can go back, but then like we'll start moving backwards and you won't be able to see where you're going. But yeah, here we have the camera, which is called the Picto Box for some reason. I guess they want it to be different. And it takes pictures, which is useful mainly just for a side quest. It's not mandatory at all. Cool, skull. I'll take a picture of it because, yeah, I'm that kind of person. Deal with it.